Hello everyone, welcome back to the TrueCast. I hope you've been doing well, but if you haven't been doing well, but that's okay, because today I got a classic story for you. It's a creepypasta, so it's supposed to be a scary story, but from what I know, you'll probably laugh at this. It's a bit cringy, and you'll have some laughs. This is Jeff the Killer. Now, it's a very famous story. At least the character is very famous. I'm reading here something in Wikipedia. I'm assuming it's a trustworthy source here. But the character itself was initially created by a user called Cesar or Cesar. I don't know. It sounds French, and I'm not very good at French, so I don't know. Maybe it's not even French, but Cesar. That's how I'm gonna call the user. The original creator, anyway. He was, or she, I don't know. They were a creator from DeviantArt, who apparently started posting this on Newgrounds in 2008 under the alias of Killer Jeff. And it was apparently something simple. I don't know, it wasn't the story that really made this character popular, I think. It was something like you make a sort of ritual similar to Bloody Mary, where you summon Jeff, so I'm assuming you say the name, Jeff the Killer, Jeff the Killer, Jeff the Killer in front of a mirror, this kind of thing. And here it says that the original name of the character itself was Jeffrey C. Hodek, and he accidentally spilled a bucket of acid on his face while trying to clean his bathtub. So maybe not the coolest of origin stories, I guess. But the most notable version of the Jeff the Killer story, which is the one I'm gonna tell you today, emerged in 2011. And it's about this guy, this teenager named Jeffrey Woods. Now, I'm not gonna spoil anything because we're about to get into it anyway. But you'll see this style of writing. It seems like was written by a very young person. And that is why I told you at the beginning that yes, it is supposed to be scary. It's a horror story at heart, it's supposed to be that. But you might laugh quite a bit. I hope you do. I hope I do as well. I have heard this story is very bad. And I've seen YouTubers bring it on their channels. They've seen them read it, comment on it, even reenact it. And I always thought it was kind of funny. So that's why I thought, you know what, I wanna do it as well. I wanna read it myself, because I had never actually read the actual story. I wanna read it myself, live this experience myself, and maybe I can have a laugh with my viewers as well. Now, without further ado, let's get going. This is Jeff the Killer. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream, and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. Go to sleep. I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled out a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed, I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointed towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out it to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes and that psychotic smile, they will never leave my head. Police are still... No, sorry. Police are still... I think it's not the kid that's talking anymore. Police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story, please contact your local police department. I want to apologize for my accent maybe sounding too strong when I was reading as the kid. However, it is written a bit weird, I think, because he looked out the window. It says he looked out it. I would have written I looked out of it, out of the window, right? But maybe it's just me nitpicking. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Leo couldn't complain though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Leo." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said they would love to. When Jeff and his family are done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now, we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff started to talk but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He had his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. See here, guys, there's this feeling. This is kind of a weird way to phrase it. This doesn't really describe much. He got a weird feeling. The author could have just written Jeff was feeling weird, like something was off, but he wasn't sure what. Here, there you go. That's a better way to describe it. Not just he got a weird feeling, not pain, but a weird feeling. That's a bit weird. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there, eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but once again he dismissed it. As he and Leo finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. "Hey, what the hell?" The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seems to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears a Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Which, by the way, I'm assuming it's a band. I don't know this, but it's probably a band. Well, it looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith. Jeff and Liu looked over at the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. And he's Troy. They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. And I, said the first kid, am Randy. Now, for all the kids in the neighborhood, there is a small prize for bus fare, if you catch my drift. Leo stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes. And when one of his friends pulled a knife on him, I had hoped you will be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Leo and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now, it was truly a burning sensation. He stood up, but Leo gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet, or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. Oh, and what would you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose, sorry guys. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it? The fuck? Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but sorry guys, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Leo could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how'd you... That was all he said. They saw the bus was coming and they knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Leo made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Leo just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away, and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home, due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he had a knock at the front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. "Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids? That it wasn't a regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son?" Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Liu." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Leo had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing, because truth to be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Leo. "Son, call down your brother." Jeff couldn't do it, since it was him who beat up all the kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Leo tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner and they both nodded. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie." Yeah, cause now it's the cops choosing their sentence, sure. "Wait," says Leo. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Leo. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it?" He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. Son, just put the knife down, said the officer. Liu held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. No, Liu, it was me. I did it. Jeff had tears running down his face. Ha, poor bro. Trying to take the blame for what I did? Well, take me away. The police led Liu out of the patrol car. My god, I don't know if I'm reading a creepy story here or if I'm reading some sort of comedy. This all sounds so stupid. Anyway, let's keep going. Liu, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids. Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. Jeff, please. You don't have to lie. We know it's Liu. You can stop. Yeah, because I guess Liu was always the psycho in the family, you know? Oh, classic Liu. He always stops other kids. What the fuck? Why will the parents be... The parents would at least be a little bit confused, right? Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Leo inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into a driveway. Seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it? Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept into the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house. Seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad and disappointed, he couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Leo when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by with no word from Leo at JDC. No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. Yeah, you know, the mother already forgot they just had their kid sent to juvie. Without even a trial, apparently. Jeff, it's the day, she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room. What's today? Asked Jeff as he stirs awake. Why, it's Billy's party. He was now fully awake. Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after... There was a long pause. Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked up a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked down the stairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Son, is that all you're going to wear? Said Jeff's mom. Better than wearing too much, he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to... What? His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hit it with a smile. Could you not write urge instead of feeling? Push down the urge to yell at him and hit it with a smile. Now Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression. What? Said his father. Jeff grunted and went back to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes. He yelled downstairs. Just pick out something, which is what he literally just did, called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he could call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it though. He looked around and found only a striped and patterned shirts. Only striped and patterned shirts. None of which go with dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on. "You're wearing that?" they both said. His mother looked at her watch. "Oh, no time to change, let's just go." Oh my god, if it's that important, why did you not pick up the clothing for Jeff anyway? The guy is like 13, right? Like when I was 13, I couldn't choose my own clothes. Well, not like it was a good thing, but it's a special occasion. You choose the clothing for him if you care about it so much. And besides, it's a kid's birthday party. Oh my god. And not even an 18-year-old birthday, Let's just go. She said as she heard Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. What? the mother too? As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. The kids are out in the yard. Jeff, how about you go and meet some of them? Said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. You might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. Hey, you wanna play? He said. No kid, I'm way too old for this stuff. The kid looked at him with a weird puppy dog face. Please? Said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he actually started having fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Leo. So he played with the kids for a while, until he heard a noise, a weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with burning hatred. Hello, Jeff, is it? He said, we had some unfinished business. Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh my god, guys, it's about to come. Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff, I'm having a hard time reading this because I'm having a hard time containing my laughter. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and the parents were running out of the house. What? Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pocket. What? So, first of all, these kids just jumped the fence and literally trespassed into this house. And second of all the adults are running away from 12-year-olds or 13-year-olds or whatever. But these are kids. These are not 30-year-old, criminals, veteran criminals or whatever, robbers, killers, assassins. These are literally kids. And third of all, they got fucking guns. No one interrupts or guts will fly, they said. And by the way, this is a fancy neighborhood, okay? This is like a upper middle class, whatever. This is not like the Bronx or whatever, okay? This is one of those posh places. Okay. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks. Why do they talk like Disney villains or something? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. What the fuck is that? How are they so strong? They're 12-year-olds. Why do they have the strength of a bodybuilder? Picked him up by the collar and threw him through the patio door. And before Jeff even broke his wrist by twisting it, paragraphs ago, as Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC. And now you're just gonna sit there and let him rot in there for a whole year. You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand and fight. Jeff is now to his feet. Blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling. The one in which he hasn't felt... What? The remove in. Don't... The one in which he hasn't felt for a while, whatever. I'm not gonna bother with the grammar anymore. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy heart to stop? The fuck? What is this, Kill Bill? As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch, blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. So, a 13-year-old who, like a regular 13-year-old who doesn't do any specific, sports, he's not a bodybuilder, he's not particularly strong, he's not particularly tall, he's not even athletic, he's just kinda normal, just kills someone by punching them to death and stopping their heart at 13 years old. What the fuck? I get it that he snapped and he went crazy, but he didn't punch his face to a pulp. He stopped his heart by punching it. I don't know, is it me? Am I like the dum-dum here? Maybe it's something you can 100% do, and then I don't know that it's that easy to stop the heart? Is it me? I don't think it's me. I think this is absurd and literally impossible. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from the gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the gun C''S, that's not how, sorry. No more this in the grammar. Sees the gun strained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs, and by the way, the parents are still watching this while all of this happens. Nobody has time to stop the kids or even call the police probably. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He is more agile than Troy though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into the wall. The skinny kid, okay. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best as he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. "What's funny," he said, "is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol." Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, The bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, dropped to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out. When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm, and when he tried to get up it fell out and a nurse rushed in. "I don't think you can get out of bed just yet," she said as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer though, his face was covered and he was unable to speak. "Oh honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let Liu go." What? Randy confessed of trying to attack you? When? Randy died. Randy died. How could he confess he tried to attack you? He didn't do it during the party. Oh, well, I mean, I think... Okay, I mean, he did say during the party, okay, I don't play for winning, I play for winning. I guess that is a confession for the attack, I guess. This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. "He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again." Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbye. I think at this point your mother just gave her a name, honestly. Like, just name her at this point. Or Jeff's mother hugs him. I don't know, cause you're repeating Jeff way too many times now. But maybe that's just me. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it, what it would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the side of his face. Not very nice. No, in front of your kid. Well, it's okay. Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What happened to my face?" Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burned to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair sank from brown to black. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. "Jeff," said Liu, "it's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect." His family were equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Eye twitching, classic sign of being a psychopath. "Jeff, are you okay?" "Okay? I never felt more happy. Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me." He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. "What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped, and now he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know." Okay, dude, I don't think your sanity snapping looks exactly like this. You're just going, "I'm the Joker, baby," basically. "Doctor," said Jeff's mom, "is my son alright? You know, in the head?" Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here, and we'll give him a psychological test. No, you give him the psychological test now, you dumbass. Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror. His face still formed into a crazy smile. Okay, mommy. What the fuck is he speaking like this now? Cause he's crazy? Is that how crazy people speak? I don't know. I don't think I've seen crazy people speak like this. Not even a Joker speaks like this. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. Oh, there's not even... It's like he reverted back to being a 5-year-old or something, but there's literally no reason for this reversion. This is not caused by, I don't know, childhood trauma. This is caused by present day trauma. So, I don't know. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. I've just read this. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. What? Why? Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked in the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved his smile into his cheeks. Jeff, what are you doing? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes. His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could forever see myself. My new face. Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son, she said. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy, so we can see your face. She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. Honey, get the gun. She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife. Mommy, you lied. That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, cutting both of them. His brother Leo woke up, startled by the same noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. Mate, that will be a lot of noise. I don't think he will just go back to sleep. That will be a crazy amount of noise. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up, before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Leo. Leo thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Shh, Jeff said. Just go to sleep. And that is it. That's it. End of the story. I'm gonna be honest, maybe this last sentence, this shh, just go to sleep, together maybe with the intro, the opening of the story, maybe these were the only scary parts. So it seems like it's a bit confused, because this ending ends kind of exactly how it starts at the beginning. Because if I go back to the beginning, there was that thing about ominous unknown killer still at large, and it basically describes the same thing. The kid fighting back, kicking, punching, rolling around, blah blah blah, and the killer just go to sleep, exactly the same way. Now, it would be interesting if the author went with this being some sort of curse. Like, I don't know, the killer, this happens and this killer dies, and then this curse gets transferred to Jeff. That will be kind of cool. Okay, that will be more interesting, I think. But it just doesn't seem like that's the intention. It's never suggested in the story. Okay, and this beginning, newspaper article at the beginning is never referenced again. It's just there. I don't even know exactly why it's there. Maybe just to make the story end the way it starts. That's a cool idea again, but only if you actually do it. If you actually do something with it. But this, for all I know, this article is not canon, for all I know, because the story never references it at all. Maybe this thing we get as the intro, it's something that happens after the events of the story. That could be, but again, it's not supported anywhere. That's the problem. And I know it's not easy to support it, but you gotta do it somehow. You gotta support it in some way if you want to have the connection. So this makes me think that, I don't know, the author was thinking of the connection, but kinda scrapped it halfway through, and then was just like, oh, I'll end the story the way it started, or maybe only added this so he could do that cool effect. But again, it just doesn't work. Because it's not a crazy man curse, and we don't have way of knowing that it's actually Jeff the Killer in this newspaper. It could be. You know what? It's my headcanon now. It is. But it's just that. It's a headcanon. It's something I'm thinking, but there's no confirmation. Unless there's other sources. Maybe. I don't know. But then it will be weird to put this at the intro, at the beginning. Especially because you didn't put anything that makes you think the story being told is a flashback to this newspaper article. Like I was saying, it's not too terrible as a concept. Okay, there are some decent ideas, and even some language I found to be somewhat creative. As for example, I described Jeff going up in flames as a burning inferno, for example. Like, this guy was trying to make it creative. But you can also clearly tell that it was kind of a kid writing this, because a lot of story parts just don't make much sense. It's like very extremely poorly executed. He put some words he found cool, and I don't know, the characters in this story don't even seem like they have strength levels that are crazy. They are stronger than most adults, but they're only 12-year-olds. There's no way, they started fighting each other and Jeff broke the wrist of one of the kids. Now, breaking his nose, yeah, that's totally possible. The nose isn't even that strong. But breaking his wrist, just like that, barehanded at 12-year-old. And okay. This could still be. Let's say this could still be. Because the wrist is also kinda fragile. It's a complex part of your body. But then later on, killing the guy by punching him repeatedly to the chest, stopping his heart. Are you insane? That would be really hard, I think. I don't think the heart is, stops beating that easily. It's not unprotected, the heart. Even... I'm not an expert on this, but I'm sure even when you punch someone to the face repeatedly and you kill them by punching them in the face, you're not killing them because you destroyed their brain. I think you're killing them because they're drowning in their own blood. I think. And again, I'm not an expert. If you guys know better in the comments, maybe you guys, I don't know, are into scarier horror stories or true crime or whatever. I'm not really that much, so I don't know these things. But if you guys are, and you know more, please feel free to tell me in the comments. Dr. True, you are completely wrong on this. You can totally kill someone by stopping their brain by punching them in the head. And stopping their heart by punching them in the heart. If it's possible, you guys tell me. But the way I see it, this doesn't make any fucking sense. and also, come on. He tried to put all this cool language and then messes up at a thing of bleach fell on his head. Just say a canister of bleach, a bottle of bleach, you know? Is it that hard? And yeah, obviously some bad grammar as well, but you know, the thing is, okay, grammar is something that matters a lot, but the way I see it, this is not a school exam, okay? Realistically, this is a story you're writing and you can re-edit it. So, the grammar is something you can fix. You can go back through the story and fix all the grammar problems. You can add that extra comma, that extra period, or full stop. You can add, you can change the words around. Canister or bottle instead of thing of bleach. Easy. But the story itself, the way it's been executed, the actual action of the story, what happens in the story, that is not easy to change. You may as well rewrite everything. Because if you make one grammatical mistake per paragraph, okay, you fix each paragraph, it's fine. Hard, but you can do it. But if you make one plot hole for paragraph, then good luck fixing the whole thing. You might as well rewrite it from the beginning. And I think that's why there's the story got very popular, and that's why they did a contest years after about rewriting this whole story, apparently. And they had contest winner and stuff. So there is a supposedly better version, Jeff the Killer 2015. I'm getting it right here in the Creepypasta wiki. I'm not gonna read it today because the episode is already very long as is, and that's gonna make the episode even more long. So maybe another day, who knows? I'm not ready to do 2-hour episodes yet. But apart from that, for me, the craziest thing is just this whole concept of 12-year-olds going around with knives and guns in a fancy neighborhood. I would have understood if it was a crazy rough neighborhood, where everyone's parents are criminals and everyone is without parents and stuff. I don't know, like a really, really, really bad place. I would have understood. But again, we're talking about a fancy neighborhood. And we're talking about a kid's birthday party. My god, I cannot believe 3 kids just, jump the fence and trespass this property and nobody does anything. Nobody calls the police. They all watch these kids kill each other, basically. Nobody stops anyone. That's crazy. That's insane to me. That doesn't make sense. That is just not what would happen in real life. Now, the kids had guns, okay. That will scare people, yes. But the people started running away even before the kids got the guns out. Like, come on. Really? So the people were not scared of the guns, really. The people were scared of the 12-year-olds. I don't think they even got the knives out at that point. So the people really just got scared of the 12-year-olds. And even if the 12-year-olds had knives, I mean, that will still be scary, but wouldn't people try to stop them in some way, Maybe they wouldn't, I don't know, but it just feels too unrealistic, It would be one thing if something this crazy happens in real life, but when it happens in a book or story or whatever, you have to make it somewhat credible, because otherwise the reader will not be able to suspend this disbelief. They will not be able to believe the story, to immerse themselves in the story. In real life, we don't need to immerse ourselves. It can be as crazy as possible, but if we see it actually happening, if there is actually footage, we will believe it, because it's real life. We're already immersed in real life, so it's not a problem if it's unrealistic. If it happens, it's not unrealistic in real life. But that same thing can absolutely be unrealistic in a book, and that will completely ruin a person's immersion in the story. And they will stop caring, like I kinda did. I was reading it more serious at the beginning, I think anyway. But then I started seeing this crazy, stupid stuff and it just started laughing. Like I was saying, the ending itself, literally the last 2 paragraphs maybe, they were kind of okay. But this other thing as well, Jeff snapping and going crazy, okay, first of all, that is stupid. That wouldn't happen like that, I think. But let's just say for a moment that it does happen like that. The kid has been going through a lot of stress, like, in a crazy short amount of time. Literally, in the span of 2 days, he was attacked by bullies in a new place, a new house. He got attacked at knife point. Probably his first time ever in his life seeing knives, although he didn't seem that scared. The kids were ridiculous as well in the way they spoke. Come on. I don't go for even. I go for winning. I said it before. Come on, what is this? The villain of Disney movie or whatever? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, as I was saying, that happened. Then on top of that, they had to run away. They had to, they knew they were attacked, they were the victims, even though Jeff somehow went sicko mode and, I don't know, almost killed them. I guess Jeff is not a normal... But then again, no one is a normal kid here, apparently. The kids are stronger than the adults, apparently, here. So all of that. His brother got arrested and sent away for a whole year without even a trial or process or anything, any investigations, nothing. His parents didn't believe him and didn't listen to him at all. His parents are literally terrible. And then he sees these kids again at the party and they try to kill him. So okay, let's say because of all these huge stress factors, it could be, I guess, that he snaps and just goes insane like that, like Joker mode. Okay. But why the fuck would he kill his family? He already killed the people he wanted to kill. Why would he kill his family and his brother? I guess he just wants to kill everyone now, because of the feeling he had at the beginning. Like he was always meant to be a killer, I guess. But that's not what you feel like when you read the story. When you read this story, you don't feel like he was always meant to be a killer after all. It just needed that little push. No, you don't feel like that. You just feel like he killed his parents for no reason. Okay, maybe he killed the parents because, they were assholes, okay? They were assholes. So he hated them. But why would you kill your brother? Your brother is the whole reason why you did all this stuff, to protect him. It was literally to protect him. And now you just kill him? Why? That doesn't make any sense. I just don't think the creator of this story thought about many of these things. Again, I think they were not a little kid, but like, young teenager, not knowing how to write an interesting, compelling story, not knowing what makes sense and what doesn't. And I think they kinda treated Jeff the Killer as a sort of self-insert, like, oh, I get bullied, well, I'll write a story about Jeff the Killer, he gets bullied just like me, but Jeff the Killer is so strong, oh, if only I was Jeff the Killer, then no one will bully me. That's probably what he thought, I don't know. But it literally reads as a self-insert, it reads as if Jeff the Killer is a self-insert of this guy. But, whatever. You heard it all about this story for today. I'm just gonna go to a very quick news section about me. About general things. I'm going to the casual section of the podcast, but I'll make it extra short because it is already pretty long. We got a new Pope. That's nice. Pope Leo. And a number, I don't remember, 15th? I don't know, but Pope Leo. Hopefully the guy is fine. I know Trump congratulated him instantly, but he only congratulated him because he's the first, American American Pope. He's like, oh, American Pope, that's epic and stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if this Pope has completely different ideologies from Trump, so wouldn't be surprised if they are completely against each other or whatever. We'll see how this Pope is. I think I heard it's more moderate rather than progressive, so I don't know. Maybe it'll continue with Pope Francis' ideology, or maybe it won't. We'll see. It's very early to say. We'll see. Apart from that, a bit about me. Well, I'm gonna have English exams soon. And those are gonna be a headache. But hopefully it will go well. I've been trying to study as much as I could. That slowed me down with making a podcast as well. But it's okay. I'm still releasing this episode for this week. And yeah, the exams are gonna be hard, but I have a fair chance at getting the score I require, the score I need to go to uni. So that will go well, hopefully. Well, you'll know that once I finish the exams anyway. I'll try to keep study even more if I can. I'll try to not go crazy with stress. I don't want to turn like Jeff the Killer. I don't want to get the feeling, you know. And I'll tell you guys the results as soon as I get them, I guess. Or at least, you know, I can tell you, oh, the exams went alright, you know, as soon as I do them. But for this episode that's it. The story was very long. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have many other topics prepared. But I already knew the story was gonna be pretty long. And so, you know, I'm satisfied like this. And besides, we had some fun. At least I did. I was laughing my ass off. This story is pretty funny, but for all the wrong reasons. It should not be funny, it should be scary in theory, but whatever. Still, this was a pretty great classic. I'm assuming people never found it scary. I'm assuming it became famous exactly for this reason, for how bad it was. But I had no idea as a kid, because I knew Jeff the Killer. It was famous online, on the internet, but again, this story came out in 2011. While Jeff the Killer as a character came out in 2008. So, it was already kind of established before this stupid creepypasta, okay? And so, you know, for many years it was a scary character, and it does look scary, to be fair. But I was curious, you know, to read the story myself. Back when this character was very popular, I wasn't as good in speaking English. I had seen pictures of Jeff the Killer because they were just online in general. You know, they were around, even just for jump scares and stuff. But I wasn't even that good in English, so it's not like I could have read it. And even if I did find an Italian version, come on, it wasn't gonna be the same. It's not gonna be as funny as this, because it's just not gonna translate as well. But yeah, I hope you like the story. Well, we might do, I don't know, some shorter story next week. Well, I'll see. I'll find some other story. Maybe I'll find a shorter one, so we can get more of the casual section of the podcast as well. But for now, again, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you laughed at least half as much as I did. And I'll see you in the next one. Just go to sleep.